Greetings, Generals. This is Coach Bob. I'm out here at Grant High School. I'm going to walk you guys through your wall ball tutorial. Right? This is just a basic wall ball program. You guys should be executing this at least 3 or 4 times a week. It's only going to take you about 5 to 10 minutes to get through the basic program, depending on your level of skill. But it's a perfect program for players of all experience levels, whether you're a new player trying to break onto the varsity squad, whether you're a varsity player trying to get those looks for college, or ask any professional player out there to a man. They'll all tell you they play wall ball every opportunity they get, because this is the best chance you have to sharpen your technical skills and become the kind of player that you want to be in this sport. Alright, I'm going to walk you through the very basics of our wall ball program. The most important thing is your hand placement and your foot placement as you're getting set up. So from a hand placement perspective, the easiest way to get a feel for where you want your hands on your stick is what we in the sport call the elbow rule. Right, so you want to take the butt end of your stick and your strong hand, place the elbow at the butt end, bring your forearm up the length of the stick like so. When you're setting up the thumb and hand placement for the one-handed pass or for any pass in general, you want to use this inside edge, the edge of the wall facing you, and line up your thumb pad and your thumb print right on that inside of the line, and then just curl your fingers around. It gives you a nice rotation and flexibility in your wrist to really push and flick with it as you're going through, and it gives you a good sturdy hand placement on there for passing and catching so that you can whip nice, hard, accurate passes. Wherever your hand grips, either get a piece of tape, a marker, mark that off. That's going to be your basic hand placement for your top hand when you're approaching your wall ball setup. Bottom hand is going to go right down on the bottom of the stick at the butt end, as far down as you can get it. That gives you the most opportunity to have accuracy and power as you're whipping these balls into the wall. Once you have your hand placement down, your body positioning and your foot placement is the second most important thing to register as you're getting your wall ball set up. So hands are ready. I want to point my shoulder towards my target on the wall, right? And I want to point my front foot as well towards my target on the wall. Feet are going to end up being about shoulder width apart, right? So you get that nice torso rotation. You're going to be swinging through your whole torso. Chest is going to be facing the wall on your follow through, right? And you're going to be sliding your hand up the stick after the release, bringing your hand up into the box so that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to make a nice, clean, soft catch, and then quickly bring your hand back, pull it back up. Alright, finally, the last thing before you get into the sequence is the 3 Ps. Alright, so the 3 Ps are the fundamental techniques for passing the ball in the sport of lacrosse, and that is point, push, and pull. Alright, so first thing we want to do is setting our body and setting our hands up is point with our butt end, with our front foot to our target on the wall. The great thing about these brick walls out here at Grant is that you get nice little blocks of 4 to 6 bricks. That'll give you a nice target to work with. So you really want to point your butt end towards your target, point your front foot towards your target, and on your follow through have your chest and your belt buckle facing your target. The next 2 Ps are push and pull. So the push component comes from the top hand. So when you're making your throw, after you've got your setup and you're pointed, the push is going to come from the top hand. So you're going to literally push it through like that with a nice clean follow through. And at the same time, the pull is with your bottom hand, where you're going to snap and pull your wrist back. So when you put the 3 of them together, it's a nice clean push-pull motion after you've pointed. You get a nice torso rotation, clean snap of the wrist. Bringing your hand back up after the release. Nice, soft, easy catch, soft hands. So the basic structure of the wall ball routine should only take you about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your experience level. It's a sequence of about 8 to 10 different hand placements and angles that you'll be throwing the ball against the wall. You're going to do the even amount with your right hand as with your left hand. And your benchmark for moving on from one sequence to another should be 10 consecutive passes for new players or 20 consecutive passes for more experienced players. Once you hit your 10 to 20 consecutive passes, that means without drops in between, you can move on to the other hand and then move on to the next part of the sequence. Alright, so to kick things off in the sequence, very simple. Once you have your foot placement established, your hand placement established with the 3 Ps, It's just right side to right side and then left side to left side, straight overhand passing for 10 to 20 consecutive passes. So you get your hand placement right, you get pointed up at the wall, set yourself a target of about 4 bricks, and it's just a nice soft 10 passes. It's just a nice warm-up set to get into it. I'm sliding my hand up the stick after I release, keeping my stick in the box to create a nice target for myself. Nice, soft, easy hands for the catch. Maybe one cradle as I'm bringing it back just to keep the ball settled. And keeping my hands high the whole time, above my shoulders. Your top hand should never drop above your shoulder when you're making a nice strong pass. That allows you to stay on top of the ball and deliver straight line passes with velocity and accuracy. The next 2 parts of the sequence are going to be about switching hands. The first time you're going to be switching hands after the catch. The second time you'll be switching hands before the catch. So if you start off with your right hand, if that's your strong hand, it'll be a right throw to a right catch, followed by a switch over to the left for a left throw and a left catch. When you're switching hands, you want to keep your hands vertical and high on the stick, top hand by the throat, just like you would if you were doing a split dodge. So after you make that catch, you're going to slide your bottom hand up, bring it across the face, switch hands seamlessly right here, just exchanging the hands at the top of the stick, bringing it back down, moving your hand placement down, and then throwing the strike with the left hand. The second part of the hand switching sequence is a throw, switch before you make the catch, and then catching it with the opposite hand. So the same concepts apply, you're just working on the hand speed and quickness a little bit to help develop that change as you're passing and working through traffic on offense. So again, it's a throw with the strong hand, switch before you make the catch, and then you're sliding that bottom hand right back up to the top of the stick and catching with the opposite hand. As you can see, every time I'm shifting hands, I'm also shifting my feet so that my front foot is pointed at the wall and my shoulder is pointed at the wall as well. So for the second part of the sequence, we're going to be working on different hand placements on your stick. So for the first set, it's going to be hands up high on the stick, a little lower than the throat, and your bottom hand at about mid-shaft. This is an important tool for all players to have in their tool belt, especially as you're driving to the cage and you're playing in traffic. You're not often going to have time to move your hands down and get a full stick extension. So to be able to deliver an accurate pass or an accurate shot in tight with your hands up high on the stick is a very important skill to have. So the placement is the same, foot placement and shoulder placement are the same. You want to point your butt end still, have your hands up about this high. Again, keeping that top hand above the right shoulder. Nice catch, easy catch and release. Keep painting that target. It's the same push-pull motion. So for the next 2 sequences, the next 2 sets, we'll be working on single-handed placement on the stick. So the first set is going to be top hand, focusing on the push aspect of the throw. Top hand's going to be about mid-shaft. You're going to want to have your thumb on the inside edge of the stick and your thumb pad on that inside edge, fingers curled around. It gives you a nice ability to flick and push with your wrist as you're going through it. So again, top hand nice and high, stick pointed at your target, shoulder pointed at your target. You're just going to flick it up there and then catch with one hand. The second part of the single hand sequence is working with the bottom hand at the bottom of the shaft, working on the pull motion of the push-pull. So you're going to bring your top hand up mid-shaft. Your top hand is only going to act as a guide in this situation. You're not going to be involving it at all in the throwing motion. You're just going to be flicking and whipping as you pull with that bottom hand, arcing the stick and whipping the ball out with a high straight velocity. So again, top hand high above the shoulder. It's just there as a guide. You really just want to place your hand or place the stick in the palm of your hand, extend and whip with that bottom hand. Bring your top hand back up for catching purposes. This move is really important in developing the whipping part and developing velocity on your passing and your shooting. The top hand can only do so much, so if your stick is strung properly, this bottom hand sequence should really help you develop nice straight line passing. For the final part of the sequence, we're going to work on changing the angle of our stick up. So we're going to talk first about the Australian pass or the crosshand or Canadian pass. The push-pull motions are absolutely the same in all of these passes. It's just that as we're changing the angles, it changes up the way you need to place your shoulders and place your feet. So for the Australian pass, you really want to set yourself up more square with the wall, point your belt buckle and chest towards the wall, right, and bring your hands across. So this is why it's called the cross-hand pass. Right? And the push-pull sequence is exactly the same. You're still pushing with the top hand and pulling with the bottom hand. You're just doing it across your body. So the best way to do it is to pick a target on the wall, execute with the push-pull motion, bring it back across for a normal catch, and then cross it back up for the next pass release. This is an important skill to have, especially for offensive players playing in the interior. You never know where your defender's stick or the slide may be coming from. It's very useful to be able to simply bring the ball across, a nice quick pass across the crease or a nice little shot as you're coming around the goal. And having accuracy and control in this pass is very important in those situations. So the second to last sequence that you'll be doing is a simple sidearm pass. So again, hand placement is the same, foot placement is the same. You might want to drop your front foot a little bit, and open your shoulders up a little bit more, pick your target, and go through this very slowly at first. You don't want to be whipping crazy sidearm shots up against the wall because the angle of the release of the ball is going to have it go behind you. So you want to pick a target a little bit ahead of you, maybe 2 or 3 feet, and go through it nice and slow at first. That ball is going to kick right back at you. You might have to cross it over to catch or shuffle your feet slightly to catch, but start off nice and gently as you're working with the sidearm pass. So the final sequence I want you guys to focus on is the behind the back pass. Now a lot of coaches might tell you that it's a luxury or it's too flashy for something that you should be practicing consistently. I disagree. Many of the players can tell you, I've told them before, the only thing better than having 2 hands in the sport is having 3 hands in the sport. So having a consistent and accurate behind the back pass is something that's going to provide unpredictability and deception in your game. It's going to expand your skill set and your quality as a player out on the field. So the setup for the behind the back pass is very similar to all the other setups that we've done in terms of foot placement and hand placement. Right? In terms of your point though, because you're bringing the stick behind and you're not following through in a straight arc, the most important thing to point for the behind the back pass is your front shoulder. That's going to give you the target that you line up with the wall or the player that you're passing to. And then the push-pull motion is going to work as actually in the opposite. So you're going to be pushing with your bottom hand like so and pulling with your top hand like that and using your back shoulder as a guide to just push and pull off that back shoulder. So starting with this motion right here and lining it up with your front shoulder should give you a pretty accurate pass as long as your stick is strung well enough right off the wall. So you really just want to pop it off that back shoulder with the front shoulder facing forward. Ball comes straight out and right back to you. As you get more and more comfortable with the behind the back pass, you don't have to bang it off your shoulder. I know in long wall ball sessions it can get a little tiresome and get a little bruising, banging your shaft off your shoulder. So you can really just bring it back in a more straight up arc motion. Pick a target out on the wall. Try to hit it 10 to 20 times in a row. All right, so that's the basic setup and structure of our introductory wall ball program for you newer, less experienced players. Without any mistakes, you're still getting a minimum of 100 repetitions per side, right hand and left hand. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes every day. I know a lot of you guys are within walking or biking distance of the high school, and during the school year, if you have a ball, have a stick in your locker, you can come out right after school, get your 15-20 minutes of wall ball in every day, 3 to 4 days a week, whatever you have time for. It's essential to get out here. It adds up. If you're doing it 5 days a week, you're getting a minimum of 500 repetitions in with each hand, and you're going to see your skills and your game improve significantly. Now for you more experienced players, there's different ways where you can add on and improve on this wall ball program. The first way will be after going through the main sequence in a relatively calm and relaxed manner. You can step closer to the wall and try to quick stick everything. So no cradles, just quick catches in between, less shifting of the hands, and working on that quick direct drilling to improve your hand speed. Another great thing to add on to the end of the program is take 2 to 5 minutes, time yourself, and do sort of a freestyle challenge. How many repetitions can you get in a row in a 2-minute time period? Do it at the end of one session, write down your number, and then work every time you come back on improving that number, improving your speed and accuracy, and getting out here every day, hitting the wall.